I'm re-recording this because I had to do legal research in the middle of it because I came across in a question of intent and it doesn't make sense, but all right. Anyway, Arizona auditor is having trouble finding a lawyer to take his case, specifically this case, a civil suit against presumably the Air Force and this guy for the assault that's taking place, or this is what actually be a tort of battery, but whatever. The problem that he's running into, he seems to think that somehow constitutional lawyers in Arizona are less awesome than constitutional lawyers in Colorado, and I doubt that to be the case. I think what he's running into here is lawyers aren't going to take this case on a contingency basis, and they want to charge him out the butt because lawyers cost money and clients don't want to pay money. They want to get a huge settlement and give the lawyer a small portion of that huge settlement. The problem here is that there is not going to be a huge settlement. The camera was broken, but the Arizona auditor wasn't injured. This guy probably doesn't have very deep pockets anyway. He's just a sergeant in the Air Force. Could the argument be made that he was representing the Air Force and on the Air Force's business? Sure, the argument could be made, but the argument could also be made that he is off work, off base, and about his own business at this point, saying, you can't film me. So, yeah, if Arizona auditor had the money and was willing to pay a lawyer's hourly fee, he probably could get a civil suit started against this fella. Whether or not he could pull in the U.S., that's questionable, but it's theoretically possible that he could pull in the U.S. So there you go. That's why you're having an issue. If you're ever wondering if you have a solid case, ask if the lawyer's willing to take it on a contingency. The law office I work for does do contingency on very specific cases. And there are two basic things that you need to have in order for my law office to take you on contingency. Number one, there has to be an expectation of a good payout. So usually it's personal injury kinds of cases because those get good payouts. The second thing that we're really looking for is odds of winning, because we could spend a year and hundreds of man hours on this case. If it's not going to win, if it's not likely to win, we want our money up front rather than the expectation of a larger payment later. So that's why. Then we have PB the River objection. This is on Prickett. He's talking about assault. The auditor was approached by an unidentified man. That's not an element of trespass. The unknown unidentified man, dressed like a pizza delivery guy, never identified himself as the chief or Joseph P. Salvaggio. That is not an element of trespass. The auditor was assaulted by an unknown man in areas he believed and was told by a public employee to be a public area. Assault is not an element of trespass, and he wasn't trespassed. It wasn't trespassing until he was told it was not a public area. There were no signs indicating the area as a restricted area. We've gone over this again. Doesn't have to be. Notice can be oral. As soon as he had the notice, he had to leave. He wanted to play lawyer and say objection. He didn't actually say what the objection was, which that would be the first thing a judge would ask him. What specifically is your objection, counselor? I, of course, don't make that mistake. Objection, that's irrelevant. You have to learn the elements of the crime before you want to play lawyer. So he comes back with the criminal act element. I don't know why he phrased it that way. The auditor was physically assaulted. That is not an element of trespass. And that is also a legal conclusion. Intent element. There is no intent element for trespass. And yeah, I had to read a state Supreme Court case. And no, there is no intent element for trespass. Well, actually, technically, this would be the tort of trespass. Huh. Maybe I should go back and research it. But in looking at the law, I was looking for, this is a criminal trespass. There is no mention of a mens rea requirement. If you'll notice in assault, it's intentionally or knowingly or recklessly. So there are mens rea elements in assault, and I was wondering why there weren't mens rea elements in here, and it does not appear that there are any mens rea requirements. It's like speeding. It doesn't matter why you were speeding. It just matters that you were speeding. But he says the criminal act element of some unnamed crime, probably not trespass, maybe assault. I think maybe switch from trespass to assault. The otter was physically trespassed. If he did switch from, if he was on trespass, that's stupid because assault isn't an element of trespass. If he switched to assault as the criminal act he's trying to give an element of, saying that you were assaulted is not an element of assault. Assault, the elements are, it has to be intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly. It has to cause bodily injury to another, or it has to, like 3, intentionally or knowingly would be the mens rea. Cause physical contact with another, that's an element. When the person knows or should reasonably believe that the other will regard the contact as offensive or provocative. So those are the things that you got to prove. Intent element. So if we're on criminal trespass, there is no intent element. If we're on assault, it's at least intentionally or knowingly. It may also be recklessly, depending on which prong you're trying to prove. Intend to cause physical and mental harm. Okay, so this is intend to cause harm. It has to actually be intended to cause physical contact, not harm. Unless you're doing on this one, and then it would have to be bodily injury, not mental harm. So you're just screwing up all over the place. According to the pattern of criminal acts committed by the chief following the assault. I have no idea what that sentence is supposed to mean. Objection overruled, and then mic drop. Mic drop, everybody. Standing round of applause for PB the River. Oh my God. This is captured forever on the internet. Congratulations. You've made a fool out of yourself. Have a good day.